Right, dear students. Now, we are going to start studying about trigonometric equations. Good. So, look, in this case, we have find the value of the angle. And we have here the trigonometric equation, which is 4 cosine of x minus 2 equals 0. In the interval, 0 degrees included, 0 degrees to 360 degrees not included, 360 degrees. And now, in this case, as the name of the angle, remember, is x, as we have here, we are going to solve for x, okay? So we have 4 cosine of x minus 2 equals 0. And then, remember, we start solving for x, and we are going to add 2 in both sides of the equality in order to cancel this negative 2. So we get 4 cosine of x equals 2. And then, as we want to cancel this 4, which is multiplying cosine of x, we are going to multiply by the multiplicative inverse in both sides of the equality, and we are going to have 1/4 times 4 cosine of x equals 2 times 1/4. So in the end we cancel this 4 and we get cosine of x equals 2/4, okay? And then we simplify this fraction because we can cancel out of 2 and we get 1/2. Then we continue because we have to solve for x, and remember that when we solve for the angle, this trigonometric ratio is going, we're going to get the inverse cosine in the other side of the equality, okay? So we have inverse cosine of 1/2, which is what we have gotten here in the previous step. Now, once we have this is not the solution, dear students. You have to find what? The value of the angle, okay? But this is going to help us, okay? So it says that x is going to be equal to cosine, inverse cosine of 1/2. And remember, we have done this when we studied inverse trigonometric ratios. So if the value that they are giving us here is positive, remember, and we're talking about inverse of cosine, remember that cosine is the x value in the coordinate plane where we have the unit circle. As this is x, where the x values are positive, in which quadrant, I mean. And look, remember that in quadrant 1 and quadrant 4, because in quadrant 2 and 3, you are going to have the values of x are going to be negative. But we need where the values for x are positive. So quadrant 1 and quadrant 4. So now you know that you're going to have one answer in each of those quadrants. So let's go here now. We have quadrant 1 and quadrant 4, and I want you to take out your scientific calculators, remember, because I want you to learn how to use them. And I want you to get this, the inverse cosine of 1/2. And remember that the calculator is going to give you one answer, but the calculator is not so smart as you are. So you're going to get 60 degrees in the calculator. So where is 60 degrees, dear students? Remember that 60 degrees is here, positive. As this is positive, we have it more or less here, okay? And I want you to get the reference angle. Remember, the reference angle is going to help us to find the answer in quadrant 4. So the reference angle, remember that is the measure of the distance that you have from the terminal side of the angle to the nearest part of the x-axis. I mean, this part, okay? And this is 60 degrees. So the reference angle equals 60 degrees in this case. Now, remember, if we want to get the answer in quadrant 4, try to think, how are you going to get it? And let me write here the operation that we are going to do. Remember, as we're talking of degrees, we're going to have here 360. So if you subtract, if you do this, 360 minus the reference angle, you're going to get the angle, which is going to be like the reflection here, which is the answer in quadrant 4, okay? Because you have here 360 degrees. And when you subtract, you're getting the terminal side of this angle, okay? So let's find it. So we have, in this one, in order to get this answer, we have 360 degrees minus 60 degrees equals 300 degrees. Okay, dear students, that's the way you get this answer. These are like simple examples. We're going to see a little bit more complicated examples. Okay, thanks. Have a nice day. Take care. Stay at home. And let's continue studying about trigonometric equations.